Hey, this is Kevin from Gemini Outdoors, and today we will be continuing our discussion on mass shootings in part 2 of this mass shootings theory of life discussion. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we are in part 2 of our mass shootings theory of life discussion, and before I even get into it, in order for this to be understood, then people have to understand that evil people exist. I keep going back to that, and it's something that's very important, because we don't hold a car responsible for what a drunk driver does. We hold the driver responsible. So if the driver gets into the car and they're drunk and they slam head on into somebody and end up killing innocent people, do we ban the car? Let's ban this Ford. You know what? It's not this drunk driver's responsibility for what happened. This evil person's, responsibility for what happened. He made the choice to drink before he got into the vehicle. Let's blame the Ford. Does it make any sense? Do you see where I'm going with this? It's just crazy, and to me that people are still trying to blame the gun for committing the act. That's just ridiculous. It's stupid. And I think people need to get off that, and they need to realize that evil people exist. And when we come to terms with that, when I'm not talking to the progressive liberal out there or the progressive conservative. And yes, they are some of you out there, conservatives, that I think nowadays you're called more mainstreamers than you are progressives, but that's what you are, and you know what I'm talking about. You want your big government. I'm talking to the people who are kind of on the fence about things, who don't really, have made an opinion of it yet. That's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you, and what I'm saying to you is does it make sense? That's why I give that example. Does it make sense to blame the car? Or does it make sense to blame the individual who got into the car drunk, who got into the Ford drunk, and decided to drive when he was inebriated and incapacitated? I don't think you can blame the Ford. The Ford was just doing what a machine does. It doesn't have any intelligence to itself. It's not going to veer into the lane all by itself unless there's some sort of mechanical failure. And that's just it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Evil people exist, and they need to be held accountable, not the machine. So moving on now to mass shootings part 2, and we're going to be covering what I call public venue shootings. I apologize for the music in the background. Apparently my neighbor's awake. Why are public venue shootings so devastating, and what do I include in public venues? Public venues are like restaurants, shopping malls. It could be just an event, such as a sporting event like a baseball game or a football game. It could be a gathering of people in the open. It could be a concert that we seen in France. It could be a airport like we seen in Belgium. It's just a limitless amount of things. Colleges I include in that as well. Universities, places like that are open to the public and can be that they attract large crowds that invite a mass casualty event, such as what we've seen in France and Belgium here lately. usually these places have multiple entrances to where they can allow these people to be able to infiltrate that building very easily and maybe bypass security. And I think we've seen that, a good example of that in France, where these guys went on the shooting rampage. And, it's obvious that these people look for these places. And on top of that, if it's a gun-free zone, such as the entire country of France, they had the perfect opportunity to create this mass casualty event. And that's exactly what happened. Over 100 killed, hundreds wounded. Just an awful type of realization that that's what happened. And they had no means to defend themselves over there. No means to defend themselves. So think about that. When you hear people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama talk about, oh, you don't need a gun. Oh, I believe in the Australian gun ban. That's pretty much what France has. And look what happened there. These people had no way to defend themselves. And in our Constitution, it says you have a right, or is it the Declaration of Independence? My bad. You have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have a right to live. And in that right to live is another right to defend yourself, to be able to defend yourself. Not with just your hands, not with just with a baseball bat, but with firearms and knives and anything you can arm yourself with. That's why in the Second Amendment it says the right to bear arms and not bear firearms, just firearms. So they want to take all this away. These progressives, they want to take all that away. That's part of their agenda. That's why they have, and I think I've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it coming up in the video a little bit about the anti-self-defense laws and all that, and why they want these things to keep going. Why they want to ban all firearms. It's all firearms. They don't want you to have a .22. As a matter of fact, they're even talking about regulating air guns now. How ridiculous is that? I mean, it's just crazy. But we have to be on guard for this stuff. And why these mass casualty events are happening is because that's what the progressives want. I've changed, I didn't want to believe that people wanted these kinds of things to happen, like school shootings and public venue shootings. I didn't want to believe it. In my heart, I'm like, people are good. They don't want to see people get killed. But just watching and seeing how things have gone, I do believe that's what progressives want now. Because if they were to allow the FAST system, like I talked about in the previous video, if they were to allow people to carry their firearms, well, such as constitutional carry, where you don't have to beg the state to be able to carry your firearm, which is your constitutional right, keep and bear arms, I think a lot of this stuff would change. And the progressives don't want that. They want to have their talking point. They want to be able to say, oh, there's this big shooting over here. There's this big mass shooting over here. They want to be able to keep saying that. And there's a reason why, because it goes on to another agenda. It's all about agendas. Why do they want this? Why is it that time after time after time has been proven over and over and over again that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun? No matter if that good guy is a police officer, a law enforcement official, a security guard, or just your ordinary run-of-the-mill sheepdog, good guy with a gun. It's proven. That's all that is, especially those that are committed to doing this. These nut jobs, these evil people that I was talking about earlier. They're committed to it. Once they make their minds up to do it, they're committed. I spoke on this on another video. There is people talk about them being mentally ill. It's not about, they're not mentally ill, okay? They have an objective. They form a plan. Usually you find out about this after the all that stuff's going on. is usually after hey, they had a plan. There's a plan there. Well, I got to get a gun to do this. I got to get a gun. Then I got to find me a target. Then I've got to come up with how I'm going to get in. All this stuff, it's all that way. It's almost the same way as the terrorist attack in France. Excuse me, that I've referenced. It's just ridiculous that people still think that you can talk these folks out of it. You can't talk them out of it. I tell you what, Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, why don't you be the first person there and try to talk them out of it? How fast do you think Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton is going to get rid of their Secret Service and stand there and say, hey, I'll talk you out of it? Listen to me. I'm so charming. It ain't going to happen. So now getting back to the public venue part of it. How can we defend against this? I think it's pretty obvious. Concealed carry in places like that, because no matter what kind of amount of law enforcement is there, no matter how much security you got there, if you've got a person that is dead set on killing people, they're going to kill them. And the more guns that you have there that are on the sides of a sheepdog, of a citizen who has good intentions, who's not planning on shooting a place up, excuse me. A concealed carrier is probably the best line of defense against this, because they're actually there. It takes police and security time. And that's where I go back to the previous video where we're talking about school shootings. It's time. It's the time these shooters have that allows them to be able to do a mass casualty event. You want somebody or some system there that will be there on the spot, Johnny on the spot, and be able to stop it before people are going to die, I'm sorry, but when people have made their minds up that they're going to do stuff like this, people are going to get hurt, people are going to get killed. And a lot of people, these progressives or some of these middle of the road folks who got, those sensitive ears, you need to hear this. Okay? People are going to get hurt very badly. People are going to get killed. And it's better that we limit how much time these people have, whether you agree with concealed carry or not, whether you agree with having a gun or not. I think that it's to me, if I didn't believe in personally carrying a gun, I would like to know that there's somebody there that has one that could use it to save my life and my family's life eventually. I apologize for all the coughing. I've been battling a cold here lately. Excuse me. So, and I go back to the saying, when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away. It's the truth. But in those minutes, a person with a gun, a evil person with a gun, can do a lot of damage. And that's why we need concealed carriers there. That's our first line of defense. The next thing that I would say needs to be ended is these stupid gun-free zones. The only thing gun-free about it is keeping good guys with guns away. Because if there is a shooting, say at the school where my son's going to be going to, if there's a shooting and I'm standing just off the property line and I know there's a shooting going on in there and I'm a concealed carrier, I can't go on that property. I'd be breaking the law. Going to get to that. So getting rid of these gun-free zones and allowing good guys to be able to carry their weapons, to be able to carry I know there's these stupid people. I heard one on Hannity talk about, I don't want a good guy with a gun there because that means bullets will be going back at the bad guy and I could get caught in a crossfire. What? What did you just say? You only want you only want bullets coming at the good people. You only want bullets coming in one direction. You don't want bullets going back to stop this guy, because once one of those bullets going back to him hits him, guess what? He's going down. When I heard that, I believe the lady's name is Roginski or something like that. It's on Sean Hannity. Look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's on there somewhere. My mind was blown when she said that. And she is a liberal, by the way. I think a progressive liberal. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious? Wow. I just couldn't believe it that she said that. So ending gun-free zones, that would be another way to defend against these types of shootings. And then, I think, and probably the last, would be repeal all these anti-self-defense laws that are on the books, so good guys can act without fear of prosecution. Like the example I gave you about standing just off of, just being just off the property line of a school zone, knowing full well that there's a shooting going on in there, and there's absolutely, I mean, you could go, absolutely, you could go in there and shoot the guy. You're thinking in your mind, oh, I'm gonna be a hero. No, not in the eyes of the law. You broke the law, so guess what? You're going to have to go to prison. And that even happened in the Oregon shooting. There was a concealed carrier there, and he didn't want to get involved in it because, why? He even specifically said this, and you can't blame the guy in a way. You can't blame the guy. He said, I didn't want to get involved because in fear of prosecution. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said there. And, a lot of people, including myself, would probably think twice about getting involved in a shooting if you have the possibility of being prosecuted. So taking a lot of these anti-self-defense laws off the books, I think would be recommended. They were put on there because of these so-called vigilante problem that we had, which, in my lifetime, I can't remember a vigilante. I mean, I'm sure there has been, but I can't remember too many of them. And I don't really see them being out there a lot. I know there's a lot of politicians that say that they're going to be going out there and going crazy. After Florida passed concealed carry, it was supposed to be pandemonium in the streets. There's going to be killings everywhere. Excuse me. Didn't happen. Concealed carries everywhere now. It doesn't happen. Constitutional carry is going along, which I do support. For everybody to know that I do support constitutional carry. I do hope that it passes nationwide eventually, because I do believe that the Second Amendment says keep and bear arms. So I do believe in constitutional carry. I think that would be greatly help things. So in closing, I've touched on just about everything I've wanted to touch on about it. When we talk about public venue shootings, it is just as horrifying to me in a way as school shootings, because there's innocent people that just come, they're going to a concert, they're going to a sporting event, or they're going to a mall, to shop, or they're going to a restaurant to eat. We're not going out looking to be shot at. We don't go out to be a victim of a crime. And yet these people show up. So why shouldn't we have the right to defend ourselves against that? Why shouldn't we be able to shoot back at them? The only way we're ever going to stop this is to come to the realization that evil people exist, and that the only way to stop a bad guy with the gun is with a good guy with the gun. And that means sheepdogs that are there on the spot when it starts happening, so we can limit the amount of time this shooter has to be able to shoot the place up. Because normally what happens is when these guys get confronted by another weapon, they usually end up killing themselves. And because they're cowards. I've said it for a long time, they're cowards. They don't like to have somebody there that they have to fight. That's kind of the whole point of it, is to be able to fight against this. And that's what progressives don't want, because they have another political agenda that comes from a different agenda that I will be getting into in a different series of videos. In my belief, anyway. And I think that excuse me again. I believe that eventually we're going to have to deal with this situation. We don't want them to be able to take our guns away. That's why I kind of did these. I'm doing these series of videos, is to be able to say how I as a concealed carrier feel about things. And I feel that hopefully this message will get out. So if you're watching this video series, please subscribe to my channel. But at the least, like this video. Get these videos going around. I'm not the only one talking about this. Please check out Nothing Fancy. Check out Iraq veteran 8888. Hickok 45. They've done videos as well talking on this subject. More so Nothing Fancy than anybody. But listen to these guys. Talk and like their videos. Like this video. And start spreading the word. Get the word started on YouTube while we still can, because from what I understand, YouTube is eventually going to may cut out the gun channels and stuff like that. And if that's the case, then check out full30.com. I have started a channel there. I haven't uploaded any videos on there. This probably will be my first video on there, but I'm not sure yet. But check us out on that, Gemini Outdoors at full30.com. And that's pretty much it, guys. Stay safe out there, and thank you for watching the video.